Open the shutter at the back of the truck and it got stuck all the way up. It's awesome. She was the chill, sharp-eyed pro who gave Salvage Hunters its heart, the lady who could look at a dusty old thing and right away spot its tail. But time has changed Rebecca Pritchard in ways that shocked her fans big time. These days, she looks super different, thinner, more quiet, and way away from the busy world that once made her a star. What went down after she vanished from TV? Was it sickness, a broken heart, or something way deeper? The answer isn't easy, and it's way sadder than anyone dreamed. The rise of Rebecca Pritchard. Rebecca Pritchard didn't land on TV by luck. Long before anyone spotted her on Salvage Hunters, she'd already made a name for herself in two totally different jobs. Born on February 19, 1958 in the UK, she grew up with a natural knack for spotting details and wondering how stuff got built, traits that later shaped her fix-up career. Before TV ever knocked, Rebecca spent almost 20 years in the fashion world. She worked in selling big batches, stores, and making clothes, bouncing between Hong Kong and the UK. There she picked up how to handle suppliers, get design quality, and pick out worth, skills that needed spot-on accuracy and smart calls. This setup taught her how to handle stress and decide fast, both of which would later fit her just right on TV. After 2 decades in fashion, Rebecca chose to switch things up big time. She jumped into fixing up properties, but not in a shallow way. Her thing was reviving old and historic spots, the kind most folks might ignore. She loved the steps of making something forgotten come alive again. Whether it was an old farmhouse or a fancy old townhome, Rebecca had a real love for skilled work in the past. By the late 2000s, she was already famous in her group for getting architectural style and fix-ups. Just thought you. It's about when she met Drew Pritchard, a big-name dealer in old building goodies with a love for digging up secret treasures. Together, their talents clicked like it was no big deal. Their vibe, both on the job and personal, finally sparked Salvage Hunters, a show that kicked off in 2011 on Quest TV. It was basic in idea, but hooked you in to watch. Drew drove around the country hunting antiques and junk treasures, while Rebecca did the price checks, passed digs, and fix-up tips. She didn't just park in front of the lens chatting about stuff. She jumped into the action, and her smarts gave the show its strong core. What made Rebecca pop was how easy she made it all look. When she chatted about a thing, watchers could tell she really got into the yarn behind it. She added a real feel that made Salvage Hunters seem true. She also had a chill pro vibe that evened out Drew's wild energy. When he'd roll back from a trip buzzing about a fresh find, Rebecca was the one who kept things steady. Their job link had that blend of respect and now and then sparks that made great TV. Not over the top, but real enough to keep fans hooked. As the show blew up, so did Rebecca's fame. Fans started spotting her not just as Drew's sidekick, but as a solid name on her own. She got known for her know-how and her way of breaking down antiques, so it felt easy to get. She didn't act like she was better or try to sound too bookish. Whether it was a 19th century chair or a hunk of factory gear, she made it fun to see. That trust spilled into Salvage Hunters, the Restorers, a sideshow that zoomed in more on the fix-up steps themselves. It spotlighted the pro-fixers who worked off camera to wake up old goodies. And Rebecca's spot there gave it that same hook-you-in vibe. But doing Salvage Hunters wasn't just about popping on screen and yapping about old stuff. It really packed nonstop brain strain. Her gig needed fast, spot-on price tags while shooting, often with barely any prep time. There wasn't space for second thoughts or slip-ups. She also had to dish the backstory that gave the show its meat, spelling out where a thing came from and why it counted. Juggling that with TV's speedy rush made the job tough on the mind in ways fans hardly caught. Outside the set, her hand in fixing up properties brought its own headaches. Fixing old or protected buildings meant wrestling with old rules laws, surprise costs, and the steady chance a job might dig up build issues that flipped everything. Between the shoot stresses and the iffy side of fix-ups, Rebecca's spot was way tougher than it seemed on TV, both in fresh ideas and money-wise. By the mid-2010s, Rebecca had turned into one of the top-known faces in Britain's old stuff scene. And while she wasn't too fussed about being famous, Salvage Hunters' hit put her in the lights anyway. Though she dealt with it all cool-headed, the rising buzz around the show and her team-up with Drew would soon drag in troubles that even her steady pro side couldn't block all the way. Because behind all the wins, their home life was slowly shifting, and the even keel that once kept it all smooth started to tip in ways nobody clocked coming. Marriage to Drew Pritchard. Rebecca and Drew Pritchard's team-up started way before Salvage Hunters was even a thing. They were already hitched, already steering a biz together, and already big in the old stuff crowd for their joint skills. By the time TV grabbed them, they'd stacked years of know-how in a world spun around fix-ups, style, and past goodies. Their spark was legit, but teaming up every day ain't simple, especially when your wedding is your work too. Some whispers say the pair were total night and day in dealing with stress. Drew was always zooming, hunting deals, betting big, and running on thrill. Rebecca, though, liked order. She wanted things right, mapped out, and chill. This gap made them a killer duo on the job, but at home it sometimes rubbed wrong. Still, they kept the shop humming, grew a family, and spun their joint love into a windtail. For a bit it looked like it all clicked. But then, chit-chat started buzzing in their hometown of Conway, and the low-key home life they'd fought to guard got tougher to hide from the glare. These whispers were about Drew's wild home stuff, mainly hookups that supposedly went down while he was still wed to Rebecca. One yarn especially kicked up dust in North Wales. Per local news back then, a guy named Janice Thomas faced off with Drew at the Liverpool Arms pub after finding out Drew had tangled with his wife. Witnesses said it got rough after Drew supposedly shot him mocking texts. Some write-ups even said Drew grinned during the chat, which folks say pushed Thomas to start the tussle. The mess turned into one of those tales that flew fast in a tiny town. Folks jawed about it for months. Later, buzz hinted Thomas got booted from every bar in Conway and hit with fines, though neither camp ever owned up to the real deal. Rebecca, like always, kept mum total. While the ins and outs of what brewed private between her and Drew stayed off the books, what's plain is the mess didn't smooth life out. They still had to show for shoots together, still had a shop to steer, and still had fans who bought the on-screen duo. Rebecca pushed on like Zip had shifted. Always nice, always pro, and never tossing fuel on the chatter. It was this pro side that made folks dig her more. While Drew's name kept hitting front pages, Rebecca zeroed on the grind and held her pride tight. She didn't need to air it out or drop words. She just kept it what she was famed for. Sadly, in the end, the wear got too heavy to shrug off, and what had been a rock-solid duo between Drew and Rebecca started to crack soft, leading to the gut-punch split of their marriage that nobody clocked. Coming, the heartbreaking divorce. In 2017, Rebecca and Drew Pritchard split up, and later that year, their divorce got stamped official. But by the time their marriage wrapped, most folks had zero clue trouble brewed. They'd logged years shoulder to shoulder, road tripping for shoots, running their shop, and sharing screen time like all was steady. And so, when the split got locked in, fans got truly floored. The pair who'd crafted a full show together, who looked locked in on Salvage Hunters, had soft split on the down low. Neither spilled in chats or public words about what tanked it, and that hush spoke volumes. In truth, there were no sour blasts, no news bites from unnamed pals near the pair, or even online jabs back and forth. They just wrapped it, locked the deets away, and rolled on. For Rebecca, this fit her to a T. She had always kept home stuff close, and she stuck to it even when nosiness about her marriage hit max. Sure, the no answers bit just fanned the guest fires. The press spun its takes, tying the split's timing to the yarns that floated about Drew's supposed cheats. His name had already dotted local sheets and gossip rags, and the bits lined up too clean for folks not to peg cheating as the hook. Still, Rebecca never owned it. This hush made folks like her more. In a time when all dish dirt online, Rebecca's pick to seal her home world popped. But what floored watchers extra was the split didn't right away hit the show. For a stretch post-break, both Rebecca and Drew kept showing up joint on Salvage Hunters. They clocked as work pals, same as ever. On Lens, Zip looked off. They were pro, kind, and locked on the old stuff. Fans who skipped news might not even catch they weren't wet anymore. Off Lens, though, it couldn't have been a breeze. Teaming with your ex, extra on a show that banks on real spark, needs pro chops most lack. Yet Rebecca nailed it. However, sharp-eyed watchers caught soft shifts like fewer joint shots, less zip-zap chit-chat, and a cooler, more far-off tone, but the nod between them still shone. The show kept killing it, but fans couldn't shake a touch of blue. They'd eyed Rebecca and Drew for years and saw them as a unit. Their bust-up hit home for the crowd, extra 'cause watchers rode their ride from jump. Social spots overflowed with notes spilling shock and soft feels. Lots cheered Rebecca for steering it all smooth and splitting grind from home woes. Others just said it felt odd eyeing them joint after clocking the split. For Drew, the after was other. His name hung in press a tad longer, part 'cause of old dust-ups. But even though Rebecca bossed the split with grit, the years after dragged fresh hurdles of their own. And that's when fans got real worried. Some even hit socials and fan spots to spill their worry, 'cause the lady who once seemed bulletproof now looked like she'd weathered way more than anyone guessed. Health update and drastic weight loss. In the late runs of Salvage Hunters, fans started clocking something off about Rebecca Pritchard. She looked way thinner, and it quick turned into hot chat among watchers. The switch wasn't overnight, but bit by bit, it hit that she'd dropped a bunch of weight. For someone who'd always glowed fit and full of life on screen, the flip sparked worry. Watchers jumped online, asking if she was good or what hit. It wasn't nosy talk. Folks truly cared. Rebecca had always come off real and easy to like, so spotting her slimmer made long-haul fans antsy. The show never touched it, and Rebecca didn't either. She kept at her gig like usual, chill and locked in, never nodding the buzz around her look. Over years, the talk just swelled. 'Cause she never spelled the switch, folks patched their own tales. Some figured she might be wrestling health stuff, while others pegged it as just getting older or from life tweaks. When you've lit up TV for years, even tiny shifts turn giant online. And that's just what rolled. With her. Despite the worry, there's zero locked word of Rebecca hit with big sickness. No hospital yarns or pro-health drops. Zip that hints trouble. Truth is, a few web spots claim she's solid. They nod to her Instagram where she drops now and then about her grind and likes. The snaps there show her fit and on the move, hinting she's just rolling a softer, more sealed life these days. That hasn't killed the guess game, though. Some fans peg her drop to stress. It wouldn't shock given all she's ridden lately, from the split to easing off TV and steering post-spotlight days. Others think it could just tie to aging up and grabbing fresh ways, extra since Rebecca's always seemed health-smart and steady. Still, sans any nod from her, it's all shot in the dark. Rebecca's always prized her seal, and she's kept at it, even when folks guess on her okayness. Unlike most screen folks who might drop a fresh or word to hush the buzz, she's picked quiet. Extra 'cause locking home off social trumps killing chatter. In a way, her hush fits her brand. It meshes with her always self. Chill, sealed, and zeroed on grind over eyes. When fans sift her drops, they catch peeks of her old likes, old stuff, fixed jobs, and style, not mess or show-off posts. Folks who've trailed her ride for years dig that. While the weight drop cues still pop in note spots and fan yarns, most nod that if Rebecca's held back, it's likely 'cause zip heavy to spill. It's just one more nod to how she's held the reins on her own tail, even post-lights. What's plain is Rebecca Pritchard's now health looks steady. She might look swapped from her early Salvage Hunters days, but she's still hopping, still at projects, and still linking fans via her rare drops. Those who've bumped her at old stuff fairs or meets paint her as nice and easy to chat with the same chill spark she rocked on TV. Her flip might have lit worry at first, but over time, most watchers have rolled with Rebecca just sliding to a fresh life step that's softer and more sealed, but still all hers. Truth is, nobody owns the full yarn on her weight, Doctor. Up, and that's just how she seems to dig it. And while fans still wish she'd hop back to Salvage Hunter someday, the real is her showtime soft wound down. And with that, a huge life chunk soft shut. Departure from Salvage Hunters. After over a decade on Salvage Hunters, Rebecca Pritchard's spot on the show started to dim. It wasn't a snap, but fans clocked it. Her pops thinned each run till she was flat gone. When the show's main feed later dropped a quick clip called "Goodbye, Rebecca," thanking her for years of input, It felt like eras close. For lots of watchers, that drop locked what they'd half guessed. Rebecca had soft bowed out. The vid skipped deets, just bits of her top shines and a plain thanks note. No huge send-off EP or off-lens spill either. She bounced same as she'd always rolled, chill, kind, and no fuss. Soon as the clip hit, guesses flew. Some pegged she bounced for health, nodding her clear, thin down in late runs. Others thought it tied to seal. After years of eyeballs and split fallout, it fit she'd crave a low-key life off lens. A few fans even shot she'd loop to her old fix-up roots or private old stuff trades, stuff she'd dug way pre-TV. Whatever the why, her bounce marked a real flip for Salvage Hunters. Rebecca had been in from jump, and her chill check to Drew's wild way was key to what clicked the run. Sans her, the show felt swapped, still fun, but missing that firm vibe watchers leaned on. Fans hit back just like you'd figure. Note spots stuffed with sweet words, throwbacks, and cues on where she split. Some even whipped quick nod vids online, rerunning her top cuts and fave lines. Others penned they missed her takes, saying the show felt off sans her view. It rang clear. Rebecca left a real mark on folks who'd trailed her years. Fun twist, Quest TV never dropped pro words on her bounce, which just piled on the soft riddle around her split. It seemed all from net to crew to Rebecca picked to let her ease out smooth, since Salvage Hunters rolled on. But for many fans, that first stretch with Rebecca stays gold. She packed realness, warmth, and smarts that shaped the show's feel in its peak times. And though she's off it now, her stamp still hums in how the run hits old stuff and yarns today. Not long post Rebecca's ease out, Drew Pritchard also shocked fans by dropping his own bounce from Salvage Hunters. After over a decade as the show's mug, his split capped an era that shaped his path and the channel's soul. The word came soft sans big promo blast. Just a few quick drops and trade nods locking Drew was shifting to chase other plays. Fans guessed the show's grind schedule and non-stop shoots wore him down. Extra the long road days, endless rolls, and slim home time. And so, not fading soft, Drew likely picked to bow while hot, leaving a stamp that nailed a whole slice of UK fact TV. Truth is, Drew's days and must-haves had flipped. He had his old stuff shop to steer, his build junkyard to boss, and fresh shots blooming off TV just like Rebecca. Post both Drew and Rebecca's outs, Salvage Hunters kept, but the run wasn't sans its dust-ups. Over years, cues popped on how real some shown deals truly ran. A few knockers nodded that checking an old thing's roots under tight TV rush could near impossible, and not every bit flashed might have come just as it played on lens. Some traders even shot the buy and bargain spots got tweaked via cuts to amp the thrill. Off lens, the roll schedule was known tough, now and then pushing shoots at times that didn't always match true trade windows. Some bits grabbed eyes for other dust reasons, like when Drew owned he near-wrecked self-driving a BMW, a line that lit fan worry on his safe plays and off-lens ways. But that's not it. The show pulled mixed crowd feels too. While some cheered Drew's deal chop as true to trade and real, others pegged it too rough or overcooked. Even in the trade, dealers piped views. A bunch claimed once a thing hit salva. Hunters, snagging like bits cheap, got near out, arguing the show pumped buzz and bent prices all market-wide. None of these snags ever full-tanked the run, but they left a hang chat on how TV shine can flip even a tight pro gig like old stuff trade. But while Rebecca's pick to bounce might have shut one chunk, it didn't mean she ghosted full. Off lens, Rebecca's spun a softer, more home life. And from what folks catch, she digs that flip. Is Rebecca still hunting? Even though Rebecca Pritchard hasn't popped steady on Salvage Hunters in a bit, she hasn't flat vanished from the old stuff crowd. Truth, she's still soft in it, just not lens front anymore. Folks who track her grind know she's still out rolling what she aces, only now mostly off view. Rebecca's always been more craft than shine. Post-TV, she reportedly stayed hopping via private price tags and advice gigs. That means when collectors or traders need pro eyes on an old thing's real deal or worth, she's still a go-to pick. It's the sort of hustle that fits her locked, nitty, and sealed self just right. She's held a low online hum too, main via her Instagram. The drops are sparse, but when she shares, it's usually pro snaps of old bits, rooms, or fix plays. Every now and then, fans still note ask if she'll loop to Salvage Hunters. Others just spill how they miss her lens pops. She rarely hits back, but those online bits show she hasn't ditched the old stuff world full. She's just added her path. Now, what most folks still miss is Rebecca's roots stretch way past old stuff and TV. She packs no in biz and trade plans, chops she built way pre-shine. This spells why she slid smooth from fashion to fix-ups and later to old bits. All she's rolled loops to one core, clocking worth. Whether in a build, a relic, or a chair bit, this mix of trade and fresh eye is what earns her props in her lane. Folks who've teamed her say she hits all with the same detail love she always flashed on TV, and that's likely why she still wanted years post-public fade. Despite all the shine she snagged from Salvage Hunters, Rebecca never played star. She skipped meets, flashy chats, or building a buzz brand off her tag. While lots of screen types leverage wins to hop side hustles or influ-style paths, she went flip. She picked calm over chatter. And this call's handed her room to roll life her call, off the roar that tags real TV. As for her now pad, not much spills. It's thought she still hangs in the UK somewheres, though her spot on ain't out. Given her always seal, it's easy to pick her hold in a chill country nest, ringed by old stuff, fix work, and a few tight pals who get how she digs her hush. She hasn't re-wed, and looks-wise, she's solo. Zip sign of fresh link in her days, least not one she flashed public. Instead, she seems locked on grind and self-care. A slower, more on-purpose role after years juggling TV, biz, and home bumps. For someone who burned so long in lights, it's plain why soft life feels like gold. Even though she's off Salvage Hunters now, Rebecca Pritchard's stamp still hangs. The fans who trailed from jump still yap her pro side, her warm, and the one of vibe she packed the show. Lots nod her for the real tone that splits it from norm reel runs. Rebecca Pritchard proves flat that TV bow don't mean purpose bow. She's still tied to the same world she helped hype, just sans lens and wild. And while fans might ache her screen pops, it's clear Rebecca Pritchard ain't lost her spark. She's just kept at what she's always aced, digging shine and worth in stuff most skip. Would you like to see Rebecca Pritchard make a comeback on television? Drop your answers in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click on the next video on your screen.